in the back corner when I'm not presenting.
Listening in.
And listen in.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bass University Live here on Tuesday night.
Take a quick break. Watch John Cruz's on the Tokyo rig.
Be a part of the show. Get some chances to win some awesome prizes.
This Bass you go. You know, we didn't have that back then, and dude, it can just.
That text thread gives me so much energy. I mean, like I'm dialed.
Welcome to Bass University Live. We are live from the Bassmaster Open Northern Division on Lake Oneida, and I'm glad to have you guys with us. Can't wait for tonight's show. It's going to be great to see everybody again. I've been fishing. We're going to be recapping Lake Champlain, the Toyota Series, and the BFL, which just went down, and a lot of great stuff there. So if you guys want to talk about northern fisheries, largemouth, smallmouth type of fisheries, it's going to be a great show. Get your questions together and let's chat about it. It was a wonderful couple weeks, and now we are at the Open. I have the Bass University House here on the shores of Lake Oneida. We're at the Bayside Manor House. We have Brian Schmidt with us and Ike and a bunch of other guys. So we're all here competing in the Bassmaster Open, so make it a surprise visit from one of the guys here as we go through the show. And iCast just went down. I was unable to attend iCast for the first time in a decade, and but JK was there, and Jocelyn and Ken Duke is going to be coming on tonight. We're going to be talking about the big winners at iCast and everything that went down there, all the cool new baits. So look for that coming tonight. You know, it's good. It's going to be a great show. So get your questions coming. Enjoy the show with us. BTC, Rizz, it's great that you guys got us up and running. It's good to see you guys. I'm looking forward to telling stories.
Yo.
That's right. Another Bash You Live coming to you fresh on the airways here from the great Garden State. We're not on the lakes. We're not on the shores of Lake Oneida. We're on the shores of Lake X.
Yeah, we're in the muddy banks of mosquito-ridden swamp of South Jersey.
Mosquito Lagoon.
Hey, I'm going to shoot you straight. I'd rather be on the banks of that lake fishing the tournament than what we're dealing with up here this week, man. She's a bear. Oneida is just being tough. So you guys aren't in a bad spot. Promise you.
Yeah.
But JK, I hear you in the background. It's good to have you back on the show. We missed you. You're fresh home from iCast. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, man. What a house you're staying in tonight. You know, this week. You guys have room to walk for all the trophies you guys are carrying around?
Man, there's a champion culture in this house, man. You just want to be part of it. You know what I mean? Just get a little piece of it. You know, it'll help anybody.
I hear you, man. I'm gonna bet on that house, and everybody else if they want to take my bet, they can take the rest of the field. I'm gonna bet on that house this week.
That'd be a fun bet. This house versus that house on the United.
That would be cool.
The Open.
Yeah.
Who would win?
Yeah.
It's hard to bet against Mike here at Oneida, and I love him. You know, we all love him. But God Almighty, it's hard to listen to how good his practice is going.
Man, I can attest. Best practice I've ever witnessed with my own eyes was Iconelli on Oneida. The guy straight up dialed.
Really?
Man.
Oh God, yeah. I could write a book about that whole practice alone. I really could.
He gets this lake. I mean, it's like a hot knife through butter. Just he gets it, and the lake gets him. And after you go out there and you struggle and you're sweating and you're trying to scrape and scratch for a single bite, and he's talking about traveling, how he's going to manage all his schools of 3-pounders, you know.
Well, You just tell him I hope he was weighing his fish in practice. That way he knows which ones to go to first.
Oh man.
Well, I remember being a problem last time. He's like, man, I don't know where to go to first. They're all big.
Do you think his scale is a pound off too? Think he has his scale calibrated a pound off?
Dude. And dude, I practiced with Ike like 2 days on Oneida at that Open. And dude, let's be honest, Oneida is a different animal now. Like back then, it was having some real. It was on a high end for a cycle. Like it was pumping out weights, you know. But I think I saw a legit 22-pound bag of largemouth one day with him that he caught. And then a legit 22-pound bag of smallmouth.
Ooh.
And like he wasn't like wearing down at school. He'd like catch one, he'd have a bunch of buddies, and he'd go find another one and do it all over again. And catch a big old 4.5-pound, you know, brown beast. But just crazy practice. That was years ago though.
Yeah. It's very upsetting to hear those stories, JK. He's something else. And then you got Brian Schmidt here too, who is on the other side of things. Like he's subdued. So when he says, "Yeah, I got a few bites," that means he got a few dozen bites. You know?
Yeah, I got a few bites.
You got to extrapolate all that information from the two of them, but I wouldn't have it any other.
So
way.
like a formula, you got to like divide by pi, and then break it down on like a percentage equation system, depending on the moon phase. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Which one's got the horseshoe?
I can't quite give away the formula, but you know, for Mike, you have to divide his weight, and for Schmidt, you have to multiply his weight to get to the real number.
It's very accurate.
Have you figured out how to lock into Lake Ontario yet?
Yeah, we did figure it out, but they won't let us. There's the workaround. You can get into Ontario, then you can go over to the St. Lawrence and then lock down into Lake Champlain, which was where I was headed if they let us. But
you could really lock into Champlain. Pete,
say it again, Brian.
You could lock into Champlain.
Eventually, it might take you a week to get over there. But
where's that at? I don't have a globe
we're in
on me.
Syracuse.
I mean, Ticonderoga somewhere.
Down there. Okay. Yeah. Have to.
Well, no, actually, the way I'm thinking, you'd go north into Ontario through the St. Lawrence River and then down into Champlain.
Wow. Yeah, that might take a while.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a run. The Bass Cat's up for it though.
Yeah.
You know,
you got to outrun them Canadian Mounties.
Well, before we dive into that Champlain talk, Pete, like I talked to you today, you were at the service trailer, so you had some time to talk to me on the phone, and it seemed like there were you're fighting the negative demons. You just came from a crazy run and 2 big giant tournaments on the best lake in the country, and now they're making you fish this place, which we know your affinity for this place over the years.
I was wondering how you were going to handle that. You know, in other words, we know how bad you've sucked here at Oneida in the last few years.
I think you've had some bad luck. Let's be honest, with some boat trouble.
Well, it kind of felt that way again. You know, I was, you know, I called you to talk, you know, business, and I appreciate your, you know, trying to get me turned around, and you know, I was in kind of a bad place because I had been on Champlain, and anybody that's been on big water and Great Lakes water, you're going to beat your body and your equipment, and you got to spend time maintaining it and getting things right for your next derby. Well, I'm going from derby to derby to derby without any chance to do any of that stuff. So I was at the service cruise for 5 hours today. They were pretty busy, pretty crowded, and I appreciate them being here. I mean, my gosh, Bass Cat was here, and Minn Kota, Humminbird, and you know, Mercury, Yamaha, Power Pole, all the companies were here, Phoenix, Skeeter, and they pitch in, they help each other out, and they help the anglers out, and it's fantastic, and I appreciate their support of the tournament. And so yeah, I spent so it was great. I spent my first day here, and I got 2 bites. Coming from Champlain, where you're dialed and you're getting bit throughout the day, I suffered with just a couple of bites, and then I'm going to the service cruise, hoping I can get out of there quick, but it's busy, so it takes all day to get out of the service crew, and it's great. I'm here with my buddy Brooks Parker, and we get out of there, and we just about to launch the boat, and who do we run into but Harvey Horn, who is just getting off the water. And I'm like, man, it's pretty early for a second day of practice. And he comes over to me and goes, Pete, you must have looked at the radar too. And I didn't know what he was talking about. It's sunshine's beautiful out. And I pulled up the radar, and there is line after line of red bars about to pass right over us. So now, after getting all the work done, here I go, ready to fish. I'm super excited, turned around, ready to get after it. And lightning bolts are dropping, and we have to hold off. And we waited for one line to go through, and then me and Brooks got out for about 30 minutes. And then another lightning bolt started dropping again on the next line. And then finally that went through, and we got to, spend a couple hours, out fishing, toward the end of the day. So, but the good news is those 2 hours were good. They were, I was able to put together a few bites and a little bit of a pattern that I'm excited to look more into tomorrow on the last day of practice. So, I appreciate your words, JK. I know I was a little bit grumpy when I called you earlier.
That's all right. That's what I'm here for. I'm the positive energy coach, I guess,
Yep. And I want to give a shout out to Bob Soley, who I talked to today as well. And Bob was on the show, I guess, last week or the week before. And, I love talking to him about strategy and tournament strategy, and always appreciate talking to him. Give him a shout out. Thanks, Bob. So here we go. We're about to get ready to go to Oneida, guys. Hey, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, subscribers are all over the place. And I see so many of them here at the Opens and at the BFL and everywhere else. And it's the Frog Days of Summer. Come on, try it out. It's going to make you a better angler. I promise you. It's going to cut your learning curve. That's what we do. That's all we do. So get yourself subscribed. All you subscribers, all the great benefits that are here at Bash U. And of course, if you're a subscriber, we use your question on the air. We're going to hook you up with some cool stuff. We've got so much stuff going on. Once again, shout out to Humminbird Minn Kota, great partner with Bash University. We love their products. Can't wait to talk about how I use their products this week to find what I found today. So it's really interesting stuff using side imaging and 2D sonar. It's amazing the things that you can learn, especially when you're fishing around rock and grass, and it's tricky. But Humminbird is able to really give you some great images. And Empire Covers, you got anything that needs a cover, we have a great 15% off discount at Empire Covers. So if you have a RV, you've got a jet ski, you got a bass boat, get it covered, protect your gear, and you use our code. Rizz, what is the code? It's BASSU21.
That's right, Pete. Use code BASSU21, and you're going to get 15% off your order at Empire Covers, as well as free shipping. That's BASSU21, Empire Covers, 15% off and free shipping.
I like 50.
Outstanding. We've got Rizz, take us through it. We've got Facebook, like and share, and what else we got going on tonight?
Yeah, that's right, Pete. In addition to the Frog Days of Summer promotion we have going on, which, by the way, is still active on www.bashu.tv. If you sign up for Bashu TV right now annually, we're hooking you up with a Bash University official camo hat and 2 River to Sea frogs just for signing up for the program. Unlimited access to over 900 bass fishing instructional videos. And during tonight's show, we have 2 giveaways going on for product. That's a grand prize for one of our Bashu TV subscribers. It's It's the Ready for Summer package. It includes topwater baits, deep diving crankbaits, finesse baits, and TH Marine G Juice to keep your fish alive once you get them in the live well. And then for our Facebook like and share, guys, we're also going to be giving away some soft plastics from Z-Man and some TH Marine products. So, guys, if you're watching over on Facebook, like and share tonight's feed and get entered in for a chance to win. And during the show, for any questions that we use, the two of the questions we use during the show, we're going to be giving out a $25 Gills Gear gift card. So, guys, it pays to be a Bash U TV subscriber. If you're not signed up, head over and get signed up now, man. It's really going to take your fishing to the next level.
Yo, hold on. Before you move on from that, we've got that Demiki BTC.
Yeah, that's going out the door tonight.
No, it's not. Going out my pocket.
It's
got my name on it.
BTC?
Yeah.
What's a Demiki BTC? What is that?
That
You
would be
named
a
it after
Demiki
Carpenter.
square bill.
What?
You see that?
That's
Pete?
awesome.
Why are you giving that thing away, by the way?
Huh?
Like, I'm telling you, if I got even close to one of those things, it'd be in my tackle box.
I'm telling you. Go on. Do we have a other one that was somebody?
We have others.
Yeah, we have a voucher. An IOU. It's a little napkin that says Bass University owes you this bait. Dude, look at that thing.
It's good stuff.
That is
It's
awesome.
a good.
Pays to be a Bash U TV subscriber, guys.
That's a good
Ooh, it's
color.
Guys, we're going to have some more show and tell tonight. We're going to be talking Lake Champlain, and we're going to be talking iCast. So we're going to take a quick break. Go get subscribed. Get yourself some frogs. It's the frog days of summer at Bass University, and improve your fishing for the rest of the season. And so hang in there with us, get your questions together, and we'll catch up with you guys in just a few minutes.
AquaView, the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. AquaView. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love catching fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA.
Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worman series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
We're different. Some would say obsessed. There's no place on earth we'd rather be than right here, right now. Performance-driven gear, so you can fish longer, harder. Gills Performance Fishing.
2021 Red Crest champion Dustin Connell here, and if you watch live coverage, we just got done at Lake Eufaula. I caught my fish using the active target with Lowrance. What you didn't see is I run a Sea Clear power harness in my boat. One of the main advantages to running this harness is it does not drain my batteries down at all running my 4 units. And what that's going to allow me to do is I'm able to see my bait at 8 a.m. just as good late in the day. Y'all check them out at seaclearpower.com.
You take pride in your boat, so it deserves the best protection possible. Our durable woven fabric prevents ripping and provides UV protection, and our tape seams provide protection against the elements. The heavy-duty shock cord hem and strap and buckle system provide a tight and secure fit. Our top-of-the-line boat covers come with a ventilation system to keep your boat free from mold buildup. Empire Covers, protecting what you love.
And we're back live.
Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. We are, you're just joining us. We're going to be talking about Lake Champlain. We're going to be talking about Lake Oneida, and we're going to be talking about iCast. We've got the great Ken Duke coming on with us and shedding light on everything from iCast to tournament stats and everything that you need to know. But I mentioned Brooks Parker, and I want to invite him over here for 1 second to poke his head in, because he just got word that he's got
gonna be a father?
scholarship from Montevella University in Alabama, and he's going to be going on a fishing scholarship, participating in the college program there.
Yep.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really excited to go.
Good deal.
It's great school, like you said, JK, and Brooks has been with me practicing this week, and I also want to thank him for putting up with Cranky Pete. Gets a little cranky when he's not getting bit on Lake Oneida, and we all do. Yeah, we all do. Well, and I gotta give you props, because he's a drop shot phenom. I mean to tell you, he can get bit in dirty water, clear, deep, weeds, don't matter. If we get around the fish, Brooks will get bit with his drop shot. It's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
It's good stuff. I wish you all the best of luck at school, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for and he's hanging out with us tonight. He's hanging out in the Bash U house this week.
All right, Brooks. Brooks, before you go, give us one drop shot tip, man. Give us something. I need something.
For me, it's moving the bait without moving the weight. So just sitting there and shaking it.
Okay.
And then moving it a foot and then shaking it again.
I am a convert. I'm sitting there. I interviewed him about that exact thing, BTC, and I'm like, Brooks, take me through what you're doing, because he's just getting bit, and that's what he. And I watched him, and he said that he tries to keep that weight stationary, and he shakes. I don't know, maybe 5 times or whatever, a bunch of times, and then he'll move it and then do it again and move it and do it again. And he just repeats that process over and over again. So that's what I was trying to do out here at Lake Oneida. I'm watching Brooks, and I'm like, man, I'm going to figure this out. I gotta get these bites too. But
how much do you change the leader length, Brooks?
What's that?
How much do you mess with your leader length on your drop shot?
You mean the leader for the for the weight?
Yep.
Yeah.
Normally it's like about a foot. It's just what I've always done. I don't know.
Okay, you pretty much stick with that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right.
Well, here's the deal. Brooks came with me to the BFL, and it was his first BFL as a co-angler. And by the way, Brooks is 17 years old. He's entering his senior year. He finished in the top 25% of the field, probably top 20% of the field. Would you finish 27th place? 28th place in the BFL for his first co-angler.
Outstanding, dude.
So that's outstanding work. What was that question, BTC?
I just said outstanding.
Outstanding.
Yeah, it was
outstanding. So we're looking for big things from Brooks. He's been fishing with me for a while, so keep up the good work, my friend.
Thank you. Good talking to y'all.
Two Brooks.
But we've been fishing together for quite a few years, and it's really good to have somebody that with a drop shot PhD, because I am not, if I had to say my weakness, that's it. The drop shot persists as a technique that I constantly need to improve.
Trying new baits. That'd be another one. Being early to stuff.
I think this needs to be addressed right now on this show. You have been saying that about the drop shot probably since I've known you.
Mm-hmm.
It's time, my friend. I mean, the drop shot, I didn't want to do it either, but it's changed my life. So it's time, my friend. You are going to make peace with the drop shot this year. You're going to have to just take a whole month and not fish anything else.
No, we're going to have to negotiate the terms of that treaty.
Go into negotiations.
I think you can throw drop shot. Rizz is at home with a drop shot too.
let me take this moment to hate on the drop shot.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Get it.
The drop shot is annoying to work with. It has a hook, obviously, that's above the weight. And the weight is anytime you put that rod down, that weight wraps everything. And so you go to pick up your other rods and it's immediately tangled. Or you get impaled by the hook on the drop shot because it's exposed and it's not, when you're grabbing rods. So I'm either getting hooked or I'm getting tangled. That's number one. Every time you catch a fish, if he's 4 inches or 4 pounds, boom, he's flinging that drop shot weight and you got to redo it. You got to re-rig the whole system. It's completely inefficient. It's just frustrating for me to work with, man. I cannot take it. I've done good with it. I've done good. I have my best finish is second place at a Bassmaster Open with a drop shot.
Wow.
So
that's pretty good.
I
Dude.
took second place on Lake Erie drop shotting. So I haven't won with it, but I've done pretty darn good. I've made some top 10s, but I continue to try to find workarounds on drop shot lakes if at all possible. So props to the drop shot.
You forgot
it's
about
a killer,
throwing it
it's
at
a winner.
Yeah.
I just had to hate on it a little bit.
Yeah, well, the other thing is like, throwing it when you have to fish it like near rocks and you're breaking it off constantly and it takes forever to retie. You miss a few. There's more. Trying to cast it accurately at stuff, docks, trees, and it's it's pretty hard.
Well, my biggest fault with it is I reach for it when I need to reach for it.
That's too late by then.
It's too late by then.
Yeah.
And, I've got to go for it earlier out of the gate. And I think that's my big move is moving forward. I've got to go for it. The first minute you step on Lake Oneida, your first cast should probably be with a drop shot.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's
Justin,
a little drop shot hate.
Justin, how much do you ever put more than one hook on a drop shot?
No. I thought about, like, I've done this twice where I have a drop shot above like a jig,
Bitsy bug or the shaky head or something like that.
Yeah, something like that, and that's more of a beefed up deal. And I wasn't efficient with it. I just laid it up when I was trying to do that.
It seems like it might confuse the fish. Like,
nah,
do I want to eat this crawfish or do I want to eat this?
The only thing it does is it gets you ridicule from other fishermen. That is legitimately the only negative. Otherwise, you got 2 baits and 2 hooks, or you got to retie extra. But if you're going through an area, it helps you identify if they're on the bottom, if they're 12, 14, 16, 18 inches off the bottom.
That's not a bad thought there. Like,
but
if I
when
was
people see it, you get ridiculed. So that's the negative.
Like, I could see it being really good for like drifting, like using a tube below a drop shot, and that helping you key in possibly like in a windy situation where you're just drifting. But I don't know.
It's illegal in this tournament.
Yeah, it's illegal at Bassmaster.
Well, that would be
they
the
won't
other
let
thing.
2 hooks. BFLs they will. They'll let you do that.
I heard guys talking about it recently that they like to put a lower hook with a bait on it, not necessarily even a hooked bait, but a bait down there to attract the gobies and draw the gobies in to the rig, and then the smallmouth react to the higher placed bait.
Wow.
So, interesting strategy.
Indeed.
Yeah, there used to be a Carolina rig weight with a built-in hook. I remember that used to be on Tackle Warehouse, and I almost bought sometime. Just thinking, man, you get 2. You know how sometimes they get the weight, and it let you thread another soft plastic onto that hook, but it was built into the weight, so you'd have a Carolina rig with two baits. But I never did quite take the plunge, and it didn't sell very well, so. Because it's not on Tackle Warehouse anymore. So
wow, it's interesting.
It's funny about the weight. And when I was on Champlain, my partner one day brought a smallmouth all the way to the boat on the weight.
Drop shot or Carolina rig?
Drop shot.
Yeah.
Wow.
He brought it all the way to the boat, and then the fish, got off, took the weight. And it was crazy to see it, but they get so angry that they would not, they just clamp down, and they're not going to let go until the last second,
Yeah, that's a dumb fish.
They do get angry.
Be quick with the net.
Angry. I need some angry smallmouth this week on Lake Oneida.
Yeah, you
They're
need some
too
dumb
pleasant
ones.
here.
You need some of them dummies from Champlain that are eating weights and holding them.
Right?
Seriously, that's what we all really want is just dumb bass, big dumb bass.
You come from a place where they're eating weights and they're going out of their way to chomp on stuff to a place that they're just at peace here. They don't, they have gobies and perch, and they don't need us. So, it's
bear hook. Somebody caught one at the St. Lawrence on a bear hook. Was that one of the Johnston brothers? Where they're like, I didn't have a bait on it. Like my bait was gone. And he caught him on the bear hook on a drop shot.
Oh my gosh.
I don't.
See, that's where we need to be.
Yeah, you need to.
I've caught him on a bear hook before.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, Lake Champlain was a treat. I promise you, guys that were following on Facebook and saw some of the posts and stuff or watched, it was awesome. Up there with the fishing the Toyota series, Ike was there. A lot of the top level MLF guys were in the event up there this past week, and man, oh man, that they were chomping. They were chomping during the elite tournament, which Brian Schmidt won, who's with us. And, they were chomping again for the Toyota. And then the next week, they were chomping again for the BFL that was won with 20-pound bag. So it's just an incredible lake that was really on fire. And it was tickled to be able to participate in both the Toyota series and the BFL. But man, what a great derby. I don't know which one to talk about, but the Toyota series.
You got 18 and a half, 17 and a half, and 19 and a half pounds basically every time you went out there. Talk about.
Well, my first day I had a 19-pound bag, which was awesome. It was great. The first day of the Toyota series, and it put me up there in contention, and that was awesome. Just caught them flipping and chatterbait, guys. These are my chatterbaits. I was throwing a black and blue, and I was throwing a green pumpkin, which is a bluegill. I put chartreuse on the tail.
What?
So that
Hollow belly?
Looks like it. That is a money minnow.
Wow.
That is a little money minnow.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. But I like the short, compact bluegill, imitation there. And that was really getting it. And I really don't have any rhyme or reason, but I was going back and forth between the black, which they like a lot up there, and that color. Fishing in the milfoil grass, fishing any wood that I could find, and fishing docks.
So all you had to do was go up there and throw a chatterbait, huh?
Rizz, you'd be right at home.
The sport is
chatterbait. It can be a chatterbait place. And you know what else is brutal is the smallmouth love to eat a chatterbait too. Sometimes they'll come up out of 20 feet of water and just clobber a chatterbait up in the water column.
I caught one on the Chessie on Saturday on a chatterbait, smallmouth.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Chessie.
Chessie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Was it a good one?
Nah. 2-pounder.
Mm-hmm.
You need
a lot of people don't
more.
get that smallies will eat a chatterbait. A lot. I mean, that I got it. It happened to me on the Hudson River for the first time, where they'll smash that thing, and from there I've used it all over the place. But there's a time and a place for it. You know what I mean? It's not like an everyday thing, but there, even here at Oneida, I know John Cruz had a top 10 here, one of the elites, just running around throwing, the chatterbait at, key shallow spots. And top 10 on smallmouth here.
A few years ago, our guy from the other side of the world, Dean Sylvester, took second place in the Open on a chatterbait on Oneida.
That's right.
Yep. The one that Gray won on a Ned rig.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
was that Ike and Ellie?
That is. Yeah, we got somebody at the door.
Sounded like somebody had a good practice.
Sounded like Ike.
I hope somebody had a good practice, but here's something that's really crazy to happen. Anybody that's ever been in the boater side of things, on day 2 of the tournament, I was really excited. Couldn't wait to get out there, and I knew a pattern, and I was catching big ones. I left a lot for the second day, and I sit down on a patch of milfoil, and everything's biting. Pike are biting, 4-pound bass, 5-pound bass, everything's biting my partner's chatterbait.
Oh, that's it there.
That's close to it. That's close to it right there.
It's chatterbait, Pete.
Yeah.
What's that, JK?
I was about to ask if you stole his chatterbait.
Oh man. Well, he was very, he knew I was sitting in such good spot in the tournament, and he felt bad for catching 3 fish that weighed 14 pounds, but honestly, it was exceptional because I was throwing, these 2 baits in these color patterns, which I had been successful with throughout the week. And that day, he must have caught 10 or 15 pike and those 3 giant bass in about 25 minutes. Like everything that swims was reacting to that. And it was great. It was beautiful, honestly. It was beautiful to see. But I just couldn't believe I was part of a flurry like that, and I could not benefit even a little bit. Like I could not get one of them to go.
What trailer?
So
Pete?
I had. Say again.
What trailer was he throwing on it?
A Menace.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Green
Menace
pumpkin?
trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, he hooked. We had my whole chatterbait box out. I have a bag. I'm in the middle of the tournament. I'm supposed to be fishing, and I'm building chatterbaits.
Panicking.
In the middle. Panicking.
Full blown panic.
There's no point in me making a cast.
So was it that
no
color
fish.
that you were just holding up, Pete? The one was that the one he was throwing?
No, this is similar to it. It was green pumpkin with this white, and it had a green pumpkin blade.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a custom
10-4.
Custom tied skirt or no?
It was a custom tied skirt.
It wasn't shad?
Say it again.
It wasn't the green pumpkin shad? I'm about to pull it up anyways.
No, it was similar to the green pumpkin shad. It was similar to it.
10-4.
I think it might be Bee Height Special or something. There's some kind of weird color out there like that. But it was, he made his own
New York
skirt,
Chris,
man.
if you're watching, I need more.
It had orange, a strand of orange, and like 3 blues, and I don't know what was in that skirt, but I didn't have one. But
What, the jackhammer body that he tied that skirt onto?
yep. Oh, here's what else. Here's what else, which was fascinating, is I was rolling out with half ounce, and his model was a 3/8 ounce, and he was also throwing it on very light line for a chatterbait.
He was throwing 3/8.
3/8, 12-pound monofilament.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
It is. Now I had a.
How
had a
deep were you fishing, Pete?
conversation- Did what?
How deep were you?
4 or 5 feet.
Okay. Over grass?
You grass to the surface.
Mm.
You know, like
3/8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3/8 kept it up higher in the water column. He didn't have to bully it through the grass near as much.
That. Yep.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that that was interesting, and this comes from Brian Schmidt, because I was whining to him about it. So Brian says that he knows guys that go out of their way to throw their chatterbaits on mono because it's quieter than fluoro.
Quieter?
Interesting, right?
Yeah, it is.
Softer, more supple, coming through the grass.
I love that word.
Some of the best chatterbait guys from around here, like our local group, a couple of my buddies who are really good with the chatterbait, because I'm not, but they throw it on mono. They do.
Yep. That's crazy. You know, I mean, when it comes to ripping it out of the grass and freeing itself, like it's like a sponge when you throw mono.
Supple.
You know, it just gives so much. You gotta, but kudos, awesome job. The kid wound up having just under 19 pounds for the day after all that was said and done.
Damn.
Very cool.
On the second day of the tournament.
It's the little things, man. It's the details to this that you look at, you know, 2 rods with chatterbaits on that are very similar, but one of them's got a different line diameter, a different type of line, and a slightly different weight on the bait, and it can make all the difference in the freaking world. It really can, you know. It's like it just reinforces the fact of, like, if you're thinking that a small minor adjustment like that might be the difference for you to get an extra bite, you need to just go ahead and do it and not be lazy, because, you know, like you saw it firsthand, Pete, how much that of an example that was. What was like the ratio? How many bites was he getting compared to your one?
Wasn't good.
I got none. 15 to none.
Holy crap.
You know?
And you still had a great day that day. You still came in 17 and a half or something.
I needed mental coaching.
Shout out to the pike that
hour
finally
of the
ate that
tournament.
dude's bait and let you back in the game.
Yeah. Can we interview the pike? Is the pike available?
Hey, I'll tell you too, Pete. I don't know if you tried it. There's a couple monos, because I'm like you, like that spongy feeling. So I'm just going to geek out a little bit. I had found Berkeley Big Game and P-Line CXX, the one with 2 X's. It's a little stiffer. Like both of those seem like they have less of that mono type feel, and your bait reacts a little bit more, you know, it's a little bit more stiff. I don't know if any of the guys on the board use any of that. They're obviously cheap and affordable lines, but those are it's not like your straight up mono out of the box. So that might help in that kind of situation. Just geeking out. I don't know for sure.
No, I love it. And you know, I learned it's amazing. You just keep learning in this sport, but I recognize that mono can be an adjustment in this scenario. I recognize that even on a place like Lake Champlain, where I guarantee you that nobody had thrown a chatterbait in that spot for probably a month, you know, if ever, you know, that year, you know what I mean? It was just isolated. I had no fishing pressure. I didn't see any locals. Nobody in the tournament was fishing near me.
How did you
or
find
around
it, Pete?
Yeah, let's go into that.
You know, honestly, here's how I found it. I didn't really remember how I found it until you asked me that question, but I was running and I saw grass in an area that I had run over 1,000 times that I had never seen grass before.
Okay.
And I stopped, and the grass was lush milfoil where it hadn't existed in previous years.
That's awesome.
And so honestly, I made a cast with this chatterbait, and I caught a 5.5 pounder at practice.
Okay.
And I'm, you know, breaking 5 pounds at Champlain is
mega.
You know, that's magic. You know, that's a special fish.
It's almost like in practice, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Couldn't this have just been a 3 and then a 5.5 bites tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, Pete, you do that at Champlain. You've caught. That wasn't your first big bass award last weekend at Lake Champlain. Let's be honest. You weighed in like a 7 at Champlain, didn't you?
Yeah, I had like a 615 there 1 year. That fish was 150 years old.
Seriously. In all seriousness, though, how old do you think that fish really was?
Oh man, I couldn't guess, Rich, but my guess would be 20.
Yeah.
You know, he had wrinkles on his cheeks. You know, like these old. Just he was so big, and that was crazy. But you know, I remember when I caught that fish. I remember the day. And it was one of the unusual weather days that you might think would be associated with a catch like that.
Yeah.
It was wind blowing at 30 miles an hour, and it was cloudy, and it was just a nightmare to fish. And that is when those 20-year-old fish are accessible. And, you know, most people are on the bank in those conditions, you know. But those are the times, you know, when you can go out and get them. So, yeah, that was a big catch. That was a long time ago, but it was great. You know, I went out and had a good finish. I had a solid, 17 and a half pounds and finished, 13th in the tournament in the Toyota series. I really wanted to go for the win, but unfortunately, it was a 5-ounce cut. Why are we having cuts? If there's no television.
You know what, Pete? Hold that thought. Let's bring Ken Duke into the show because I love this topic right here. And I think this is a good time to bring him in. What do you think?
I do.
Let's do it.
Do it. Ken Duke coming in hot.
I failed to send him a text message warning him, so let's just see how it works out.
Here he is.
Always prepared.
Always ready. The man, KD. Not to
What's
be
up,
confused with
Ken?
Kevin Duke.
We have the great Ken Duke with us.
Such a thrill as always to be on the show.
It's great to have you, Ken. It's super great to have you. Always appreciate it when you're on the show.
Yeah.
And when stuff that I just said comes up, we have to get you to weigh in on.
Well, I'm always excited to be on Bass U, and Bass U Live is a favorite of mine, as you guys know. So it's a real treat. Thanks for having me.
Ken, I thought you were going to wear your BTL hat tonight.
Well, I could. I thought this might be more appropriate.
It's all good, buddy. We love them over there.
I was wearing the BTL hat earlier today.
What'd you guys get into?
I was on with Mark this morning. Wow, we talked about, you know how it is on BTL. We talked about everything. He played a game called What If, where he would ask me, what if this, what if that?
Ooh.
And we just ranged far and wide.
Wow.
What if Mark didn't bring up basketball on the show? That would be awesome.
There was no basketball. There was no bowling. I think we did reference golf, but only in comparison to professional bass fishing. So it was.
It is a good comparison.
We're pretty much, yeah. Okay.
Tell us how you really feel.
But we mostly stayed on the straight and narrow of bass fishing, gentlemen, which is what we're all so passionate about and what we all love.
Yeah, he's killing it over there. Good stuff.
He is, but so are you guys. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I got stopped at the Bassmaster Classic and at iCast with people telling me how much they love Bass U, how much that they've seen me on Bass U. People who don't know me in any other capacity except that I've been on Bass U.
That's cool, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's very cool. Very cool.
Thank you.
Hey,
well, we love having you on the show, Ken. Appreciate you making time for us, and we were just talking about I missed the cut on the Toyota series by a few ounces, like 6 ounces or something. And why are we having cuts if there's no television involved? You know,
apparently somebody wants to shut down the stage and get back home early, but I have never been a fan of cuts. You know, I think cuts are the nemesis of our sport for a couple of reasons. One, if you're representing sponsors, the more times you can walk across that stage, the more times you can engage with the crowd, the better off the angler is, the better off the sponsors are. Second, we brag about how fan-friendly our sport is, but it's not. It's not fan-friendly at all, because too often you're sending a big chunk of the field home after Friday, and they want to get the autographs maybe of somebody who got cut. Rick Clunn did not have a great 2021 in the Elite Series. He did not make a lot of cuts. That meant Rick was on his way home on Saturday instead of standing around in the weigh-in line or in the sponsor booth signing autographs. That's just bad business. That's just stupid.
Well, I agree in from that capacity, but from the competition perspective, it's like I'm especially on a Champlain where we're battling for ounces. It's anybody's tournament still, and 20th place is still capable of winning that tournament.
Absolutely.
If you're talking about a smallmouth tournament, guys, there are a couple of things that make a tournament volatile. One thing that makes a tournament standings volatile is if you have really big fish. And honestly, guys, that really does not apply to any smallmouth tournament.
Champlain, though, is different, right?
Champlain is different because you have some largemouth and things like that. But if you're talking about a smallmouth tournament where a lot of these circuits end their season, the ratio of a big fish to an average fish at a smallmouth tournament is less than 2 to 1. In a largemouth tournament, the ratio between a big fish and the average fish is 3 or sometimes 4 to 1. There's a big difference between what the average guys are catching and a guy who's out there and really catches a big fish. I'm not, as much as I love smallmouth bass, as much as I think it's important that we have tournaments on smallmouth waters, I don't like ending the season on smallmouth waters because the guy who wins is averaging 4.5. The guy who finishes 38 is averaging 4.6. It's just so tight in there. And I don't like that. I don't think that's a great test of the best.
That's interesting. That's an interesting perspective. Because guys can still falter, right? And if you have 20 guys that are battling for it, that legitimately can have a pound or two better of an exceptional day, they could still win that tournament. You're right, though, in the big fish states like Texas and Florida, where guys can get that massive, difference maker and come from nowhere and do well.
And Pete, the other thing is the one thing let's say you're leading on a smallmouth body of water. The one thing about everybody else in the top 10, top 20, whatever, they're all going to bring a limit to the scales. Every stinking one of them is going to bring a limit to the scales. So there's no opportunity for guys to stumble in that way. Quite honestly, your best bet to overcome a significant deficit in a smallmouth tournament is if you take the plugs out of the guy's outboard. Because if you can get to the scales, you're not going to pick up a lot of ground on him. Because as I was saying, the two things that really cause volatility in the standings are, one, truly big fish, and number two, tougher fishing, where not everybody's got a limit.
Well, I can promise you there is no guarantee that if I happen to be doing well at this Lake Oneida tournament that I will catch a limit on the last day. I promise you.
I hear you.
It is up in the air.
I'm rooting for you, my brother. You're an outstanding angler, and you're going to get it done.
I'm with you, Ken. I'm a little tired of the smallmouth. Everybody catches everything tournaments. They're kind of played. I mean, I don't know. Everybody's out there drop shot, and it's not very intriguing, honestly.
But Brian, I do love the smallmouth tournament. I think they're important, and I just hate to see them like at the end of an elite season or something like that. That is less enjoyable to me. But smallmouth's a critical fish in the bass world, and we need to find a way to go after them. I love the places like Champlain, which you guys mentioned, where an angler has to make a really strategic decision as to what he's going after.
Yes.
Right. Yep. And, to make the definitive statement on the cuts, and this is key. I think very important statement. I love cuts when I'm in it, and I hate them when I'm not.
There you go.
That's it.
Gluszek with the definitive statement on cuts.
I don't think there should be cuts in some of the lower tiered leagues when it's the working man's league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
guys make a lot of room in their schedule and their life, vacation time with taking off from work to get up there and then get cut, in a 3-day event. I don't know. Let them fish. It's more
I think
intriguing.
strategically they could do something like a top 30% compete or top 50% compete, do something like that. Of course, NPFL, they're like, man, we're not having cuts in our derby. So
yeah, I was about to say, did you advise them or something? Because like everything that he was talking about, it's like they built that league around that.
I'm a fan of a lot of what they're doing out there, JK. And I'll tell you what, if I were an opens angler trying to qualify for the elites and I wanted to show off to my sponsors and I wanted to show what I'm going to bring to the table, especially since these weigh-ins are at a place like a Bass Pro Shops, if I didn't make the cut, I'd be inside that Bass Pro Shop, standing near my sponsors' products and talking them up.
Nice.
I wonder, I've never seen anybody do that, but I think that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Sound, aspiring pro advice from Ken Duke. We expect nothing less.
I've seen a lot of aspiring pros.
Well, it's a fantastic sport. We all love it. But there is, making it in this sport requires, something special. Doing stuff like that would be exceptional.
Yeah, and that's what it takes. There are so many people in the sport, as you guys know so well, who are willing to go to shows and work for free, who are willing to work for product, who are doing things that you think are above and beyond. You got to look for other opportunities that are above and beyond. And I think that's one, obviously. If I were an elite guy, if I had made it on some level, I would be looking for opportunities to stop on the way to elite events and engage with crowds, whether it be making an appearance at tackle shops or making an appearance at other places where anglers gather. If I'm sponsored by a Toyota or a Chevrolet or something like that, I think you got to look for extra ways to excel.
Yeah, and most guys are doing it through social, and they're doing some exceptional things in that regard, and it's still fascinating. It's fascinating stuff. But you saw some pros recently, and we had an iCast happen. It was a unique iCast. It wasn't attended. Or I don't know. I wasn't there. I was unable to attend this year for the first time in a decade or a dozen years or more. And, tell us about iCast this year, Mr. Duke. What's your impressions of this year's show?
I thought it was a great show. I thought it was flat out, maybe in a lot of ways, I thought it was the best iCast I've ever been to. And I know Justin was there, and I hope he had a great experience. I didn't get to spend much time with JK, unfortunately, because he's running around with a lot to do and I'm running around with a lot to do, but I hate that I didn't get a chance to visit with him. I thought the attitude was spectacular. Usually when you go to iCast, as you guys know, there are a lot of people grousing about it. Man, I wish I didn't have to be here. Things are slow, blah, 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 blah. I heard none of that this year. I heard nothing but from people who really wanted to be there. And attendance was down, but we knew attendance was going to be down because we knew that people from Canada and Asia and Europe were not going to be there because they either couldn't get here or they couldn't get back home without spending significant time in quarantine. So we knew attendance was going to be down, but it was still pretty strong. In a healthy year, a non-pandemic year, we've gotten to where we're up at about 15,000 attendees at iCast. Well, this year we had about 10,800, which I thought was spectacular given the situation.
Yeah, Ken, the main feedback I got was people were, just said it wasn't the same this year, and it was, because BTC and the Rizz weren't there.
Well, yeah, that was
the biggest takeaway I got from it.
And the Rizz and Pete and our whole production crew, I felt a little bit, I don't know, it's just it's different not having you guys there. You know, it's kind of like, you know, I live in Georgia, so I only see those guys at those events and the rare, you know, other type of meeting or something like a shoot. But it was different not having you guys there. I really hope that, you know, we can all get back there next year.
You know, next year we're going to get the schedule. Everything's going to lay out. This is what the opens are, the Toyota Series, the Classic, you know, the iCast. And we're going to look it over, Pete, before you go getting froggy and making any decisions. We're going to work on it together as a team. What's best for everybody, you know? You know what I'm saying there, boss?
I did it like half my time was wasted telling people why Pete wasn't there, why Ike wasn't there, why BTC and Rizz weren't there. I had to have that answered down in like 20 seconds. Otherwise, I'd have to waste a ton of time.
Feeling the love.
That's right.
Well, we will be there. We will be there next year. Sad we missed it, but
let's just redo iCast.
Rich,
can you set that up, Ken? Let's just do another iCast next month.
Rich, cut that.
I'm on it, Rich. I'm on it.
Yeah. We'll have our own iCast. It'll just be us five, but it'll take place at the lake on bass boats.
No,
it'll be WeCast instead of iCast, and it'll just be us casting.
I'm in for that, but I'm also going to Florida.
Yep. Let's go to Ken's. Let's go to Ken's. Place.
I mean,
you know, he's got all the good
guys.
It'll be called KenCast.
You guys are always welcome, and I got plenty of water around here for us to fish. And hey, if the BU Live crowd is coming, I'll get us on some places that don't ordinarily see a hook. Okay?
Sounds good. It'll be called Weekend Cast 21.
The dumber the bass, the better. Amen.
Yeah. Amen. I don't want any bass that's smart enough to swim in a straight line.
That's where I'm at right now.
I would love to see some of those this week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But
we got
let's talk about the bait that won everything, because our boy helped design it, Mr. Ike. And
I got some backstory
going there already,
guys. Pete? I got some backstory.
There they are.
Okay.
Yeah, JK's got the gilly, the power bait gilly from Berkeley. And just a few little things that even the folks on Bass U don't know, which is shocking, I realize. You think of the guys at Bass U, they know everything that's going on in this sport. They're so plugged in. It's like, it's ridiculous. But I may have a little bit of info that you guys don't have, because back in May, I was invited by the Pure Fishing folks to come out to Spirit Lake, Iowa, as part of a little media gathering they had. And the folks there, Mark Kemker and John Schlosser and Kim Hoffman, who had the marketing effort there, they are super smart people. And they were kind enough to ask for whatever I might offer them in terms of the new product showcase, which is sponsored by Fishing Tackle Retailer, by the way, but also about winning awards, because winning awards is important to a lot of companies.
Sure.
And they were showing me the lineup of baits they planned on entering. And I hate to say it, but I don't think they were originally planning on entering the gilly.
What?
Yeah.
That's true.
They came out with like 20 baits, Pete. Like, they had so much to choose from. Like, I'd say Berkeley won iCast in terms of just sheer volume alone of quality baits they're adding to the market. Like, tons of their whole line of jigs. I'll get to all that later, but keep going.
I have never seen Pure Fishing come with a stronger lineup than they did this year.
They
Never.
won.
I mean, they've got jigs that have power bait infused in the skirts. They've got the Stunna, which wins the Bassmaster Classic. They've got, and it wasn't even entered in the new product showcase in Best Hard Lure. They went with the jigs instead. An incredible lineup of stuff. And of course, the power bait gilly wins the category of best freshwater soft bait, which is fantastic. It's a killer lure. I saw that thing in the tank at Spirit Lake first and was blown away by it. So impressed. And I was telling all the folks from Pure Fishing, from Mark Sexton and Keith Ostrom, Kim Hoffman, the marketing people, Gary Klein, and so on. And I was dazzled by the way that bait performs in the water.
Yep.
And I was thrilled to see that it was entered in the showcase. Then it wins best freshwater soft bait.
Yep.
And now it's in all the 30 category winners are then put in for a balloting on what's going to be overall best of show. And gentlemen, in the nearly 20-year history of iCast, a fishing lure has never won overall best of show, not even one time.
Wow.
And the Gilly won. And I'll make an ugly confession. I got to have lunch with some of the marketing folks from Pure Fishing that very day. And they said, what do you think our chances are? And I said, well, you got 9 winners. They won 9 out of 30 categories. I said, I think you're going to divide up a lot of the vote. People are going to look at all that and they're going to say, wow, that's a lot of Pure Fishing. And maybe they'll go. And I honestly thought that another fantastic product was going to win, the Humminbird Mega Live unit. But the Gilly won. I was blown away. It was very cool to see a lure win iCast.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And a lure, a lot of those categories in the past, Ken, some of them have been fun baits, which is great, right? As tournament heads, sometimes we kind of be like, dadgum spider again, or the duck, but like at the end of the day, for fun, that's great that those companies are adding those baits to the market. But what Berkeley did here was basically, give us a bait that will catch fish. And they won the award with a bait that will legitimately catch them.
JK, you're not only much kinder than I am, you're also far more diplomatic than I've ever been. And it's going to serve you well, my friend. You're young. You're going to go far. Those baits were gimmicky. Gimmicky.
Yeah, they were.
A lot of those baits that won were in the bargain bin within 6 months.
Hey, some of the best
going to be around.
We ever got was with that duck and Ike in a swimming pool after iCast was over on a Friday night. We had a lot of fun with that duck.
But it's so cool that a bait actually that as you say is going to catch a lot of fish, and that I think is going to be a huge hit in the marketplace. To watch it win was also very special. Because especially in 2021, Pure Fishing did not make any junk. Everything they came to the game with is going to work.
What do you think is special? How were they able to do it with Gilly? Like the first lure to ever win. What did they do that was exceptional?
They were really, really smart with their marketing. Like I was mentioning some of the folks there, Kim Hoffman, Mark Kempker, John Schlosser. They came with a serious game plan. Oh, their marketing firm, their PR firm, which is Gunpowder PR, led by Ryan Shuckle and Josh Ward. They had a game plan. They had a press conference, and I saw JK at the press conference before the show opened to introduce the media to what was going on there, to introduce the media to these products before they walked into the new product showcase to vote. Timing is everything. And then when they won the votes, they kept their foot on the gas pedal, Pete. They kept kicking out the press releases. They kept kicking out the email blasts. They said, hey, we'd appreciate your support in voting on best overall. And they also tried to funnel the support. They had 9 winners when you count Abu, you count Fraybill, Plano, the brands they picked up recently. That means they had a lot of different brands out there, but all under the Pure Fishing umbrella. And they tried to funnel that vote to the Gilly, which is unprecedented. Companies haven't been smart enough, savvy enough, whatever, to do that in the past. But they funneled all that attention to the Gilly, and lo and behold, they win.
Yeah, I think, well, that's exceptional. But then I think the name is brilliant. Yeah, it's catchy, it's fun. It's a really, really cool name.
Yeah, it's a bait that's actually going to work, unlike previous year's winners. It's actually
unlike the spider monkey lure.
Yeah, it's not a complete mockery of bass fishing.
And it's definitely a better name than the Billy's piece of crap crankbait, which I thought was an awkward name.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
I'm just messing with you.
It's a Gilly, but we're not kidding.
You know, but hey, I got to give that. But you know, talking about names, you got to give credit to another winner in best freshwater hard lure, which was the Strike King Chick Magnet.
Yeah.
Gotta like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good name.
That's
Strong presence.
I kind of wanted to address that, Ken. Like, you know, as I continue to, you know me, I'm a fish head of just, it doesn't turn off. You know, got a couple people watching. You guys know who you are out there that are just like that, where it's just, you're constantly paying attention. And now I'm starting to see within the industry, you're constantly seeing what companies are doing, right? Like, they understand, like, if they're going to be a company that's going to have all these SKUs and all of these types of lures, if you have a competitor come in and absolutely wipe up with a category, and that being a plastic style flat side crankbait that Pure Fishing hit a home run with the Fritz side, Ott and Rapala come out with the OG Slim, hit a home run with it. They both companies, you know, of course, Strike King's trying to get a piece there. And it's not just Strike King, it's all of them. Like, I feel like I was going to say this with my top 10 with the baits. There's a lot of quality baits. I'm not hating on the baits. It's just the fact of, hey, I think companies are seeing where they're lacking, and it's a safer decision to be like, well, let's invest there so that we know we're going to get sales there. We know the bait's going to work. We got the right pro staff. We're going to get the right action. You know, that chick magnet's going to work. You know, to me, it reminded me of an OG Slim with Strike King eyes. Okay. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not hating on that. It just gives us more options because, as you know, right now in the industry, it's just hard to get. Like, I don't even have the OG Slims I want, the colors I want yet, you know? Like, I'm having to get some custom painted just to have what I want. But that's just the state we're in right now. So we're happy to see companies with solid reputations add things to the marketplace. But that's what impresses me all the more with the Gilly. They took a shape that was not proven in the U.S., right? Ike was inspired from the Japanese with that shape, with that style. They made improvements. They did their own colors with Berkeley, you know, Powerbait, whatever. Like, they attacked this market for the first time with that shape. You know, a lot of their other lures that they announced, there's categories, you know, they're fitting them in these different categories, and, you know, they're trying to get better within those categories, and they did a great job. But, you know, it takes something to say, hey, in a time like this, we're going to invest money to produce this type of a SKU because it's unknown, right? It's unknown in the U.S. how that's going to sell. And hats off to Berkeley, you know. I'm happy for their success with this one. And for Mike. Mike was behind a lot of it, and really, really happy for our boy there to do something that nobody's done in that.
Yeah, true. Obviously, Ike is one of the driving forces behind this bait. He's the guy who was key in designing it. But you talk about them being willing to invest in production. That really has just happened, JK. If the Gilly had not done well in the show and had not gotten interest from media and had not won an award, maybe they don't roll it out in big numbers. They're going to roll it out in big numbers, obviously, now because they've seen the kind of interest it's gotten. But that's one thing maybe that a lot of your audience doesn't realize, and that is that just because you see a product at iCast does not mean it will ever go into production.
Yeah,
it may never see the light of day.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Most of them do, especially if they've gone through the vetting process that Pure Fishing has, you know, where it goes through a lot of hands, a lot of eyeballs see it, a lot of testing. By the time they show something at iCast, it's pretty well going to happen. But I've seen many products at iCast, which I thought, that might be pretty good. And it never gets made.
Well, it was a great win by all. And, you know, congrats to Ike and Berkeley for winning the whole thing. I look forward to making a few casts with it.
Well, I think you're going to make more than a few, but I would worry. I think JK has already contacted the U.S. Postal Service and had all of your mail rerouted to Georgia. So in case you get any,
I've already got enough. I have my ways, and I already have, and I love it. I'm going to geek out about it for a second, Pete. So just bear with me. A wide gap hook is the preferred way to do this, right? So you rig it like this, okay? Your wide gap hook down. And now I'm going to tell everybody the hook I'm getting. It's from Japan. We don't have it, right? It's a wide gap hook, but instead of the flat eye, like coming out like this, it's in line. It's vertical. That's what the Japanese are doing with this. They have a wide gap hook it's really not on the market here in the U.S. So I went and bought some from Japan. And the reason for that is I think you're gonna get even better action. But anyways, you take a wide gap hook and you rig it through the side right here, right? Just weedless, and you tuck it in. But when you swim it, that hook is sticking out to the side, but it swims straight up. You're reeling that thing in. Can you imagine swimming that thing through pads near the top of the water just like that? But then when you pause it, the weight of the hook makes it fall flat. And it's got this tail to help it, glide. It kind of gives you that kind of tube action on the fall. Like there's ways you're going to be able to rig this and make it spiral. There's going to be ways to make it do more of a sloping fall. And that's just with that one rigging technique. I think we all saw Ike and Ellie's promotion leading up to iCast. He did 10 different ways to rig this thing. There's a lot of things to do.
10 posts per day.
Yeah, and BTC, you're no stranger to this shape, right? I don't know if you want to talk about it, but
well, I mean, I got one bait out of a clear plastic bag when they were in demo mode, so I haven't got the chance to mess with it too much, but it's pretty awesome, pretty wild.
Well, yeah, I was talking about just the shape family or whatever.
Oh, you're talking about like throwing a bellows gill type bait. Yeah.
That's still that shape. That's not here.
That
in
profile.
The US.
Yeah, a broad profile. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I've had a lot of fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
With the
yes,
gill,
you have.
Bellows gill. Yep.
You tried to keep it quiet for too long, BTC.
Ken, we got some Bass U subscribers here that got to get some info from you. I want to throw one in at you. Epic Eric on the message board, and he's going to get himself a Gills Gear gift card for this, by the way. He wants to know from what you saw, and you know what, you too, JK, what you saw at iCast, what product would be the ultimate product you saw that's going to solve a problem for a bass head? What did you see that's going to ultimately make somebody's day easier out there on the water and solve a problem in their fishing?
Wow. Why does Epic Eric hate me and ask tough questions?
He's the ultimate bass head, just like you.
I think that, I got to admit to you guys, I see iCast in a different way now that I work for a fishing tackle retailer rather than the way I worked at Bass. When I worked at Bass, I looked down and I could see all the new gear and stuff. When I go now in my capacity as editor of fishing tackle retailer, I'm usually talking to people about their business. And that's a very different way. So I didn't get to see as much in terms of new products as I wanted to. What is going to solve a problem for people? I saw a lot of really cool stuff, and the Gilly was certainly one of them. That's JK. You were talking about different ways you're going to apply it in the tube fall. I'm going to pitch that thing into holes in the weeds and holes in the lily pads, like you say. And I'm going to let it fall, and then I'm going to crank it out slowly. It's going to be a new approach that those fish haven't seen in the pad. So maybe that solves a problem in some element. I saw the Humminbird new Mega Live units, which won Best Electronics. Kudos, by the way, to our friend Jeff Kolazinski at Humminbird, and Joe Brown and Kathy Dutton and Adam Knowles and the people there and the designers and engineers. They've just won their 10th out of 11 electronics awards at iCast, which is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. And one of the things they said to me early on before they launched Mega Live was they said, we know we're third to the game after Garmin and Lowrance. We cannot afford to be worst to the game. And I think that they're going to have a great product there that's going to solve problems for a lot of folks. But, the Garmin stuff and the Lowrance stuff is spectacular too. So the folks who are loyal to the Humminbird brand, they're going to love Mega Live. Those are some of the big things I saw that are really going to solve some problems. And let me go off the hardcore fishing stuff and talk about something other than rod, reel, line, and lure. Let me talk about AFTCO for just a moment. AFTCO swept the 4 apparel categories, which is technical apparel and lifestyle apparel for men and women. I approach my day of fishing now so differently than I did 10 years ago. I don't use sunscreen. I hated sunscreen. I think about that as solving a problem for me. You know, it gets in your eyes, it's greasy, it messes with your grip on the rod and reel. AFCO has solved that problem for me. Other companies are doing great things in that area too, but AFCO is definitely one of those companies like Hook and Gill and others that are helping to lead the way. So they're solving a problem for me that I see. And I'm not trying to dodge your question, but I see a lot of companies trying to solve minor problems like that.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Great stuff. I got a few for you, E, and the other people that care about this. First off, I would give it to right back there at Johnson Outdoors, but I'm gonna go different. I'm not gonna talk about.
I know where you're going. I like
the
this.
5-bank charger, the first 5-bank battery charger by Minn Kota, and it's now optimized for lithiums. So now, you know, a lot of guys are having new, you know, an extra house battery in this new configuration and running. I mean, gosh, Patrick Walters, like when you saw his seminar, he and Buddy Gross are both running like 5 units. So they're running extra batteries, you know, harnesses, like that's all the big thing. But like, what about the charger? Well, now we've got it. We've got the Minn Kota 5-bank battery charger optimized for lithium, still works for your lead acid and your AGM batteries. And I think that's a huge addition. And honestly, the first of its kind, as far as I'm aware. I have not seen anybody else come to market with that. So back kudos again to Johnson Outdoors and Minn Kota and their team there. And now, E, I think we're going to get to a couple of the problems, like, you know, like, so here's a problem. When you want a swim jig and, you know, we know you go finesse when they're on small bait or when it's bluebird and clear out, but they still want to come up at that thing. But you need, all the swim jigs out there, when you go finesse, they got that light wire hook. And some of us who still want to keep braid, even if we have to dumb it down to 30 or 40, like we still want a hook that will pulverize them, right? And not bend out. And right now, all the hooks were like that until our friends at Missile Jigs and Ike, involved with this again, gave us a miniature swim jig with a stout hook that I think you can use on 30 to 40 pound braid. I have one. I don't have it on me. I actually somehow might have left that in Keith Carson's boat at iCast, but I was swimming it through grass. I mean, they got it right on this swim jig. Absolutely right. Just gives you that, solves the problem of getting that small profile that you need, or when there's pressured fish. And I was testing it out with their new mini D chunk, which I think they came out to go on the mini flip, but it works on that swim jig pretty nicely as well. Also, first swim jig that I've ever seen use the color bone, a hard bait color, now in a jig. It's the first bone colored skirted bait that I've ever seen. I've never seen a chatterbait, and he nailed it, right? John Cruz and Ike, they nailed it with this color. I can't wait to have about 10 of them in my box, and I can't wait for them to, you know, everybody knows that I like to fish in the fall, like to fish when it's tough, they're on smaller bait, and any trick that I can add to my arsenal to catch them on smaller bait, I want to have. And that leads me to the Z-Man Mini Max. Sorry, Ken, I know you're trying to butt in, but that Mini Max was huge. You know, you got a shorter, it's still a stout hook, but for what Pete was saying, Pete, I can't remember if you were saying this off the air or not, but the smallmouth, they love coming up at a chatterbait. Smallmouth love chatterbaits just like spotted bass. What's the big pain point there? They got small mouths. A jackhammer that everybody's throwing's got a 5/0 hook. Some custom chatterbaits have the 4/0 hook. You'll have a 4/0 and a 5/0. Well, guys have been making chatterbaits with 2/0, 3/0 hooks for quite a while now with this smaller profile. I know Terry Scroggins really wasn't wanting to talk about it, but Z-Man did it and they gave it to us. I think that solves a problem right there, because it helps you be more efficient with a different species. In my mind, I think that just that smaller profiles, shorter stout hook solves that issue.
Is that in between size wise, or is it the mini size with a stouter hook, or is it actually bigger than the mini size?
I would say if it's bigger, to me, it's got like a same size head. Like the mini, they're like the micro, I guess is what you're talking about, right? The eighth and quarter. Like they had a micro chatterbait, and I guess they did have a mini with like a quarter. This gets you your 1/2 ounce weights and your 3/8 ounce weights. So you've got the weight there that you want that you can use with your regular bait casting gear, but the hook's shorter and that profile's more compact. Does that make sense?
Because they had the micro and then they had the regular chatterbait. That in-between size has always been missing. And I've been waiting for that in-between size to get made. And I wonder maybe this is it. I don't know.
Yeah, you're gonna need to add that to the arsenal, Pete. Like I know once you see it, you're gonna see the problem that it will solve. And then another thing, I got to go tour our friend's booth at Gill's Gear, and they are coming out with a very impressive line of new, they're innovative. We've talked about the stuff that they do, the breathability on their shirts, and they're coming out with a lot of stuff that looks good. They're coming out with a foul weather suit that answers probably every pain point of every other foul weather suit. I'm very excited to see how it performs. I'm very excited to do it because I'm going to try it out. But another shout out to our buddy Tiger. The guy literally put in the hoodie. They got a hoodie, fleece hoodie thing. He literally put a Copenhagen patch in the in the pouch there, and they literally measured it off. Like it's because he knows how many guys dip. I thought that was funny, but again, another solving a problem.
You got Rich's attention. He just.
I did. I heard that.
Hey, well, great recap, guys, and I'm going to let you guys continue talk iCast. I'm going to crash out the Oneida tournament. My last day of practice is tomorrow. I have some preparations to do. And I got to get one more day. I'm off the water at 12. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to leave it to you, JK and Ken, in capable hands to continue talking about iCast and all the great new products out there. And E, what a great question. Thanks for that. So so thanks again, everybody. Have a great night.
Good luck, Pete.
Thank you.
Good luck,
I'll
Pete.
see you next Tuesday night. Good night, everybody. Maybe have a big blue trophy. Big blue trophy. That'd be awesome.
That's right.
Come on, do it, bro.
All right.
Let's go.
Good night, everybody.
JK, you were talking about Z-Man, and they've once again reinvented the chatterbait with the big blade now.
Right.
Those guys impressed me so much. Daniel Nussbaum, Glenn Young, the pro staff they've assembled at Z-Man. Those guys don't make any junk at all. If Z-Man makes it, it'll catch them. And that impresses me tremendously.
Yeah, and having worked with Thrift for the last 4 to 5 years, seeing him frequently, being in his boat, like that big blade chatterbait has been put through the ringer for a while. Like they made sure they got that right, and I definitely was waiting for it, and I got to throw it a couple times to feel it, and they got it right. They definitely got that right, and it's gonna be a bait that catches them in muddy water, and any time where a more aggressive thump and action's gonna cause a reaction strike. So, I'm excited to see where it works. What do you got there, Ken?
I got there a new thing from Spro. Epic Eric was asking about who's made something that solved a problem. Well, Eric, this is kind of one of those things. This was here on my desk, and I was going to show it off if I had the opportunity. This is the new thing from Spro. It's called the flapping frog. We all love our hollow body frogs, and we walk them and so forth. We also love buzz frogs, that create a disturbance. And this is going to do both. So it's a pretty cool little bait here. It's brand new to the show. It did not beat out the gilly for best soft lure freshwater, but I'm looking forward to throwing this. And
it's a good design. Molex makes one. I threw it on Saturday to catch nothing, but it's you know, but that's par for the course over here.
I want to know where it shines. I actually pulled that Molex out in a BFL in some pads to try to be different and cover some water, and I got like 2 big ones come up on it, but I had issues hook it up.
I didn't even have those issues, JK.
Yeah, I hear you.
They didn't come up.
I was able to avoid those issues.
I like that bait category, though. You know what I'm saying? But I just
no problem.
I gotta put it through some more paces. I thought I had it down.
Worked right around that. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
I kept them big ones away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do we even want to do my list? I feel like I've covered like 6 or 7 things.
You've definitely covered a lot. I actually do have one more question that I want to bring in here for you guys, and it's gonna kind of flip the script over. And since we have Ken Duke with us, I really want to hear his thoughts on this because he's so intellectual on these types of things.
Does that
superior brain?
Yes, the brain of Ken Duke. But so our very own shout out to Stephen Walden, and he calls himself the Gingerbread Man on the message board. He wants to know, in years past, the best in show category seems to have been dominated by these more gimmicky type baits that have been more just to grab people's attention, right, with the ducks and the spiders. And I'm not saying that they don't catch things, but this year we saw a bait that, as you said, is actually going to put some fish in the boat. Is this a turning point for the best in show category of iCast? Are we going to see a change of the guard where now it's not going to be dominated by, the political opinion or the media opinion, whatever? It's going to be more geared towards what things are catching fish and truly making a difference for anglers. Was this year kind of the over the hill year for that category?
No.
Ken, I'll let you go first, and then I'll give you my opinion. Go ahead.
I'm done. No.
DC.
No. Very short.
The
No.
answer is no. Unfortunately, and I'll elaborate if you want me to, but no, it's not. It's not the beginning of a new era where the voters are going to take this more seriously. The problem is, gentlemen, is that media is voting. I'm media, and I'm part of the problem. Except that media wants to vote for a story, and a spider or a duck or a bat or a great white shark with treble hooks in it is a story. It looks cool, so people vote for it. The other voters at iCast are buyers, retail and wholesale buyers. And naturally, they're going to gravitate toward and vote for the things they think they can sell. And the gilly is something they can look at and see that they're going to be able to sell.
Right. Very easily, you can tell that it's an actual fish catching bait.
Absolutely. And that's the problem, is the media has the opportunity to vote at iCast. It needs to be taken away. I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon.
Right.
Because I believe that that the folks who control that are of the opinion that if you take away the media vote, media won't show up. I think that's not true.
That's not true at all.
Yeah, media
Nobody's
is
showing up because they can
more
vote.
than the right to vote. You show me a media person who's showing up just to vote, I'll show you somebody who has the IQ.
I'm telling you right now, Ken, I showed up for the buffet.
There you go.
And it was outstanding. But so I agree with you, and I'll back that up. I voted. Well, it was 2019 since I've been there because COVID, and this year we won't talk about that. But
COVID and poor decisions.
Yeah, COVID and bad decisions. But I was there, and I was given the opportunity to vote on things that are outside of my realm, and I got no business voting on. I got the ability to vote on saltwater stuff. I don't know what the heck I'm looking at. No offense. I know a little bit about it, but not enough to. So, and that goes all the way around, fly fishing, the whole deal. And I was there and watched other guys, and I saw them commenting on stuff that's completely ridiculous because they don't bass fish. Oh yeah, look at it. Oh, get out of here with that. So
that's you're bringing up an entirely other problem here too, Brian, because people vote in areas outside their expertise.
Yes,
and that's an issue.
Yeah, I got no business voting on fly fishing in salt water.
But I have a big problem with the media too, because you show me somebody in the media, and I'll show you somebody who has or would appear to have a bias. Now,
yes.
I would like to think that I have the integrity to vote for what I think is the best. And I try to do that on those occasions that I do vote. I don't always vote, but I think a lot of media people vote based on how many ad dollars are spent on their YouTube channel or their magazine or their radio show or their whatever it might be. And I think we got to do away with the appearance of impropriety. And until we do that, these awards are not going to have the clout they should have, the legitimacy they should have, or the prestige they should have. And I look forward to the day when we can do away with the media vote, which is making me very unpopular with the trade show committee probably, but that's okay. I'm already not very
keeping
popular.
It real.
Got to keep it real, bro.
Yeah,
let's do it the right way.
Yeah, and I obviously I've been in this 4 or 5 iCasts now where I actually had a vote and participated, and you got to understand, I guess, where people what they're looking for. And like you say a story, and I might, you call it diplomatic, but like I say, maybe they're relating to more of the fun fishermen rather than the tournament fishermen, or just somebody to just go and have something that makes them keep casting it because it just looks cool on the water, and I feel like some of those baits have won in the past, and somehow, some way, Berkeley was able to bridge both those gaps. Like, that gilly looks fun to anybody to throw. It looks just like a bluegill. They've got your live colors, like your those computer image colors, whatever they're doing. So they've got the exact colors, and then they've got proven fish catching colors like this one. Oh my gosh, that thing is going to catch them. But like it's almost like for the first time, both of those things collided to where you had the bait that looked fun, but it wasn't a gimmick. This thing's got fish catching proven action.
Exactly right, JK. The baits, the gimmicky baits that have won in the past have all been real eye catchers. The spider, the duck, the bat, they get your attention immediately because you've never seen a lure like it. Let's talk about a lure that has probably caught, or a lure type at least, that has probably caught more bass over the last 25 years than any other, and that is the stickworm, the Senko. One of the all-time great bait designs, has absolutely no chance of winning at iCast because it is the most boring-looking lure of all time.
It's set fishing back 25 years, Ken. I swear, the Senko set it back 25 years.
I know. The Pete's no longer on the show, BTC, so you can ease up. But,
anybody can catch them now. Doesn't matter. No, go ahead.
But that's a bait that's wildly successful, but has no chance of winning anything at iCast, and that's a shame because to a great degree, guys, if we think about it, some of the most simple looking stuff is the most successful when you're talking about what you're going to catch fish on.
Yep. Sometimes less is more.
Not going to win iCast. It's not going to win iCast, and that's too bad. But yeah, I think JK nailed it there. The gilly is that perfect combination of, you look at it and you say, oh, this is going to catch him, and the guy who's looking for something a little gimmicky that'll make a good photo for his story, like a spider or a bat or a duck, and it converged, and boom, we've got a winner. Plus, and this is a big plus, and maybe the overriding plus here is the marketing effort and the force that Pure Fishing was able to put behind it. That was no small factor in a fishing lure winning.
The stars aligned. The stars aligned for sure, and Ike's involvement in it and, being the leading edge of that. I hope they throw a party or something. I've texted him and stuff, but I mean, dude, that is a lifetime achievement. I mean, he's entered how many things. I mean, he probably had 6 or 7 entries this year, but he's always involved with bringing equipment, tackle, gear, baits to the market, and to be the first one to win best overall in show. I mean, you could say what you want about the award, but like at the end of the day, with this one, I think that's such a huge achievement. Like, I hope they throw a dang party or something.
Well, I want to say 2 things about that. One is, you'll run into a lot of people on the show floor at iCast who didn't win an award, and they'll blow it off, say, those awards don't mean anything. Well, if you don't believe the award means anything, you're right. But it probably means that you or your company don't have the marketing savvy or budget or ability to get behind that winner and make the most of the experience. Okay. If you're a company like Pure Fishing, if you're a company like Johnson Outdoors with Minn Kota, Humminbird, and you do have the great marketing and you do have a budget and you do know what you're doing, then you can take that award and knock it out of the park. Second thing I want to tell you guys, this is more of this high level, behind the scenes, insider stuff that I like to bring to Bass U Live. The Pure Fishing folks were kind enough to unnecessarily thank me for some of whatever help or advice I was able to give them in this process. And maybe they were joking, but they told me they would let me pick and name a color of the ghillie. So I can't decide whether I want to pick a really great color and call it, KD, or I want to pick the worst color I can imagine and name it the BTC. So
what color would it be? Just brown, you know what I mean?
Brown. Brown with some highlights of mustard yellow.
Yeah, brown nose, called Stray Cast.
He'd probably catch it too.
Oh,
that's a joke. Knock it off.
BTC, I would never do the bad color to you, my friend. Never in a million years would I do that to you.
Nah,
KD. I like it.
I mean, Brian Thrift named the crankbait after you. Heck, we're giving it away tonight.
Yeah,
giving it away to me.
Yeah.
I would tell Brian, I would not even give that away.
Speaking of that giveaway, we were going to go with a trivia question. And Ken, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have some kind of iCast related question you could throw out for our people here while we have you on the show, or
while we have you on the
Sure.
spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want it right now? Rizz, you want it right this second?
Yeah, if you have it, go ahead and just text Brian over the answer for the question.
All right.
And
I will text Brian right now with the answer. I don't think this is going to be a very tough one, unfortunately. But BTC, did you just get that?
Nope.
You are so quick. It's unbelievable, Ken.
I got it.
Okay. There's
All
a
right.
company. There's a company at iCast 2021 who just won their 11th straight award in their category. What's the company?
Okay. So the question is 11 straight iCast awards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's the company? And you're gonna have a winner really quick, but BTC, that's the answer.
We got it. We got the answer. We don't have the winner yet.
Really? Okay. It's already lasted longer.
Well,
than
there's
I
a
thought it
delay,
might.
Ken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little bit of a delay, but you know how our guys are, Ken. They're usually pretty quick, but I am seeing a lot of answers coming through that's not the answer that we're looking for, Ken. So
Excellent.
Give yourself a pat on the back. You might be onto something here.
Patting myself on the back there, JK.
You should. You got a virtual pat from me, buddy.
I haven't sent you the answer yet. Do you know?
I'm chewing on it, and I don't think I know it, but I think I have a competitive guess.
I bet you do. There's the answer, my friend.
It's a good one.
I'll be honest when I get it. I'll be honest to tell you if I had it.
All right.
Some good comments
Fair
on YouTube tonight, by the way. Guys,
I did not have
there.
Ooh, we got a winner.
Got a winner.
It came in. It actually took a little longer than I would have thought, but our guy Wild Bill comes in, Mr. Bill Wassman with the correct answer of Costa Del Mar. Costa has 11 straight, Ken.
Costa has won 11 straight Best Eyewear awards at iCast, which is wildly impressive, of course. Our buddy Colo and Joe Brown, Kathy Dutton, Tim Price, the team over at Humminbird is almost there in electronics, believe it or not, which is unbelievable.
That's pretty amazing.
They've done 10 of 11. Yeah, they were defeated by Garmin. Garmin introduced LiveScope.
That was good stuff, Wild Bill. Shout out to Wild Bill. Didn't he win a tournament this weekend?
Not sure, but it would not surprise me. He's definitely quite involved in the local tournament scene.
I thought I saw Wild Bill one, and shout out to Rizz, a couple of club dubs or something this weekend too, right? That didn't get talked about.
So I had a win in an open. Well, it was a small, open, just a jackpot derby on the Delaware River. Fished with my good buddy Jim Valentine, and shout out to Jim because he managed to keep me mentally stable at about 9 a.m. after I broke off 4 of my first 5 bites and broke a net in half. Broke a net in half, broke a day box compartment on the boat, and spiked a Flambeau box into the floor of the boat, which did not break. So shout out to Flambeau. Really good storage products.
And it could take a beating.
Yeah, and it can really, really take a beating. But yeah, so at about 9 a.m., Jim and I had collectively about 10 bites and 3 fish in the boat. And anybody that knows the Delaware River knows that can be a stingy fishery. And with the end of the outgoing tide at around 9 o'clock at 9 a.m., let's just say things weren't going so well, but we kind of kept ourselves in there. Jim put a key fish in the boat for us to get us to 4. A few minutes later, I got a 5th and proceeded to catch 3 3-pounders on the Delaware on an incoming tide, which is not the ideal tide out there. And we managed to get the win. And I see on the board here shout out to Levante Brewing. I see on the board here, Wild Bill, he did get the win on Manasquan. That would be a 5 Alive. That would be a 5 Alive Open.
That's a good win.
That's a great win for Wild Bill. That's a club that we support for the Bass University. So it's great to see one of our subscribers getting a win out there. And
it's
then
very competitive too.
It is. It's a really, really competitive club. But back to me.
Congratulations there, Wild Bill.
Congrats, Wild Bill, on a great derby. And then I managed to get a win on Sunday as well in a club tournament with my old man on a DOD ponds down there in South Jersey.
What'd you catch?
We had 3 bass for almost 9 pounds. So
9?
Yeah.
Oh, the big ones, but
well,
Yeah, because the Thursday night are 5 for 5.5 one.
Club dubs. That's like 20 something in the last year and a half. You get so many club dubs, they're gonna kick you out of the club, bro.
It might be the case, but shout out to Wild Bill, Bash U subscriber, for a big win. And we also have a like and share going out tonight, guys. We're gonna be pulling that here in just a few minutes. So if you haven't shared tonight's feed, now's a great time to do it. But before we wrap this thing up, Ken, what's next for you? What kind of adventures do you have going on? Where are you fishing next? What's going on in your world?
Guys, I don't know when I'm going to get to go fishing next, but I do have a media junket I'll be going on in less than a month. I'll be going into Wisconsin to fish some of the upper Mississippi with a variety of different brands, including Gamakatsu, Spro, Big Bite, Gill, Denali. Really looking forward to that trip. A good pro staff, just a good time, and a cool part of the country. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Very good.
Ken, how's the podcast coming along there, boss?
Yeah, that should be a good trip for me up to Wisconsin. Been a while since I've been to Wisconsin to go fishing.
Wisconsin sounds nice this time of year.
Hey,
BTC is
Ken.
properly giving me a hard time.
Come on,
BTC,
man.
if you keep giving me a hard time, I'm going to pick that pink with purple polka dots color.
That's going to be Brian's color.
That's fine.
Hey, but before we wrap up, I've got like 3 more things that I'll just touch on really quick.
Go ahead, dude. Take your time.
We covered like
Not all
6
night.
or 7 of what was on my list from iCast, but there's a couple things, and Brian, I think you'd notice about you, or you perk your ears up about this one. But G-Rat, who makes the glide baits, right? Just that G-Rat, I guess, is the company, and they came out with, they got the Skinny Pete and the something other Pete glide bait. They came out with a Papa Pete glide bait that's 10 inches long, and I talked to a couple people in the know, but like that thing is catching giants out on the West Coast right now. Giants.
What's different about it?
I don't know. It's just like the same G-Rat bait, that it's just 10 inches long. It's just bigger. But I just had one conversation with somebody who probably wishes to remain nameless, but
did they enter that in iCast at all, JK?
It was at iCast. That's where I saw it. Like, I got to hold one.
See, that's the innovative stuff, man. What's going on with some of them guys, and they just because they're so small, you know. Yeah, and then shout out to our boys at Cashin. They finally, I think, have got us some really good swim bait rods. Like, they came out, they debuted swim bait rods, a 7-11, but they also did a 7-8 that I'm really excited about, because that 7-8 is going to be perfect for more of like that, you know, the smaller glide type stuff, or like a 6 or 7 inch softy. Yeah.
But they definitely came out with a 7-11 that's going to be able to handle, you know, those heavier things.
What's
too.
a 7-8 like? Is it very parabolic or stiff with a tip?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna quote an expert who's not related to Cashin, who picked it up and saw it, and he's probably doesn't want me to drop his name, but you know him and you'd respect him. He said that they got that one right.
The 7-8.
Like they got it right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's I'm really excited about that one. It's got the right tip. It's gonna, you know, load right, and I'm ready to put that one through the paces for sure.
I had a conversation with Kevin Brightwell from KGB, and he has some rods coming out. I think they announced that. Well, anyhow, but he definitely talked about like a very parabolic rod, and there's none out there like that. And you know, I know Rich has been using some real parabolic rods for a lot of his techniques, and it's different. You have to learn a whole new way to cast.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I'll be interested to check out the Cashin rods for sure.
Yep, and then
we're gonna get Brightwell on here real soon, man. Do a glide bait.
Oh, heck, that'd be an awesome conversation, man.
For real.
And the last couple things, and the second one, I'm gonna go right to you, Ken, because you're gonna have more experience with that. But the first one is my favorite topwater, which I hate to have even ever given that away, but I think it's so popular now it doesn't matter. The Evergreen Shower Blows came out with a 77.7. So that's a really tiny bait. They have the 105, which was their small one, still having 3 hooks on it, but this one had 2 hooks. And it's going to be that really tiny bait in the, you know, whenever fish are getting on that tiny bait and stuff. I'm really excited because that fish, that's a fish catcher in all 3 different sizes, and now they have a 4th, which I think is pretty awesome. And then it'd be hard to talk about iCast if what you signaling, Brian?
Nothing. Keep going, bud.
All right. It'd be hard to talk about iCast if you didn't talk about pork being back. Uncle Josh was like on the scene. You know, it's like they're bringing back pork. What do you know about all that, Ken?
I was shocked a few years ago when Uncle Josh stopped putting out pork rind, and it's exciting to have it back. You know, a number of companies in recent years have tried to come up with something that's synthetic that they said was going to be as good as pork and less messy and so forth. But I didn't think any of it was as good as the old Uncle Josh stuff we had, or the Pedigo stuff we had back in the day. I think it's really interesting they're back. I hope that the lull, the dip, the time when we didn't have pork available to us is not going to be too much to overcome.
I got to know about this because I wasn't fishing straight up when pork was like a big thing. And something you just said there really stuck out to me.
Just say it, Rich, you don't get it.
No. I can understand why pork would be effective, but was messiness really the issue? I mean, we're talking fishermen who were grabbing fish. We're in the hands. We're outside. We're in the water. Was messiness the problem?
No, messiness was not the problem, Riz. The problem was supply, was getting the stuff, was getting the materials, the fatty pork back. That is what that stuff is made of. Now, a lot of guys, I shouldn't say a lot of guys, some guys were making their own pork rind. They were going to butcher shops and buying the fat back area or whatever it is it comes from, and they were curing it and so forth. And they were dyeing it and making it themselves. But that is a messy process. That's
right.
A tedious process.
Very involved.
And so forth. Yeah, very involved. But messiness, where the messiness comes in is the jars the pork rind came in. If you didn't use the stuff up pretty quickly, they'd rust shut on you. They'd leak. They were messy. It was tedious.
Right.
You get the stuff on there. A lot of guys like to squirt a little scent inside their jars of pork, so it'd be messy. You have to reach in with your fingers. There's simply no way to put it on the hook except to handle it. It was a messy process, but the stuff is incredibly durable and
effective.
And it could be effective, but the soft plastics have come so far in the last 20 years that I'm not sure whether or not pork can make a comeback at this point, because for half a generation now, it's been basically unavailable.
Right.
So
and can you resurrect it?
What was the most, all right. So help me understand this. Why was pork so popular when it was around? And if plastics have come to the point where they're just as good, why are people gaga over the fact that pork is coming back? Because like we did a social post on this Uncle Josh's pork and it went crazy, So like if plastic is just as good and what's really going on with it? What's the hype about?
Well, the Uncle Josh company came around, I want to say in the 1920s. I want to say they launched it in 1921 in Wisconsin.
When Pete first started fishing. Right.
Pete,
Got it.
Yeah, he just texted me. He concurs.
Pete qualified for his first classic in 1921.
That's right.
And 50 years before the event started. But
he was late to that too.
Remember, this is something that nobody on the panel, not even an old guy like me, can remember. But remember when Uncle Josh launched in 1921 or 22, there was no soft plastic. So it didn't have anything to compete with. Soft plastic didn't come along until 1949, really. And it didn't become popular until the late 50s, early 60s. That's when the Texas rig developed and people started really seeing an application for soft plastic. Soft plastic chunks didn't really become a thing until the 80s, believe it or not. And that's when soft plastic started to compete, but the soft plastics weren't good. And a jig was at that time at least considered a colder water bait.
It was.
And the soft plastics back then didn't do well in cold water. They weren't as pliable. So gradually, as the soft plastics got better, and because the soft plastics gave you a lot more color selection, a lot more color options than pork did, the soft plastics eventually eclipsed pork, which has traditionally been that polka dotted frog look or black or maybe chartreuse. There weren't a lot of pork colors available. And gradually soft plastics took over.
Yeah. Yeah. And, so for us, it was always pork was always the option for cold water. You know, the first jig trailers we were using was the Fat Albert twin tail, Zoom Fat Albert twin tail, or a Guido bug, or
a Zoom chunk.
Big salty.
Yeah,
Zoom big salty. Yeah. But Rizz,
look at me.
Big claw, air claw, big claw. Who was that? Riverside. Riverside made a big claw.
Riverside, yeah.
So they're not around anymore. But so it was a crawl trailer or the twin tail when you wanted action, and when it was cold, went pork.
And Rizz, if you were using pork on your jig or something like that, and you made a long run, your pork was basically no good when you got there because it had dried out.
You just got to keep it. You leave enough line where the pork drug in the water.
Okay.
It would come back to life too.
Yeah, it would come back to life.
Yeah.
And
it's like using Berkeley Gold.
Real interesting.
Yep.
And if you want to try the ultimate traditional, hardcore, quintessential pork, you go with a black Uncle Josh number 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the back of a black and blue jig.
The Hank Parker Pro Pork was better though. Who was that, Ken?
What's that?
The Hank Parker Pro Pork?
I don't know, man. I don't even remember that one.
Maybe I made it up.
Well, Pedigo made pork. Here's a bit of truth. I'm sure you didn't make it up, man. You just know stuff I don't know. But the Bagley company started as a pork rind company, not as a hard bait company. They started making pork. That was what they did.
Okay.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. A jar of Bagley's pork rinds is quite a big deal at an antique tackle show there, JK.
I bet.
I want to tell you about one other thing I saw at iCast that was so cool. And I sent JK, I sent you a couple of pictures. I sent Brian a couple of pictures of a man with a couple of absolutely enormous bass. None of those bass weighs less than 15 pounds, by the way. I ran into what's that?
2 in 1 day.
Yeah, I ran into my friend Dan Cadota at iCast, and Dan in the 80s, late 80s and early 90s, when the chase for the world record bass was really at its peak, he was the very best of the guys chasing the record. He was the very best of the guys who were catching enormous fish in Southern California. He still has a line class world record. I think it's 8-pound test. I might be wrong. It might be 10, but I think it's 8-pound test, 19.04 pounds. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Danny was at iCast because he started a new rod company called Semper Fish.
Dude, you were talking to those people when I came by one time.
Sorry about that, man. I'm sorry. I hate that I missed you.
You're a popular man at iCast.
No. I'm just irritating and I don't leave people alone. But Danny's the guy who caught all those giants then. He's got a new rod company. If you guys are ever looking for a cool show on truly gigantic fish, the only guy who's caught more, I joke, I say, the only guy who's caught more giants than Dan Cadota is Mike Long.
Wow.
Mike Long didn't really catch any, so.
Dude, I would love BTC. I'd love to get a trophy, like a bona fide trophy hunter, and where like they don't care about tournaments, they don't care about anything but catching teeners.
That's every swim bait guy too.
Yeah,
they just want to catch it on a swim bait.
They want to catch it on a swim bait, but like there are guys out west who they'll use different things besides a swim bait. Like, I mean, in the wintertime, there's a lot of jig fishing that happens that catches teeners out west still. Yeah. Yeah, that would be really cool, Ken.
No doubt.
But anyway, Dan Cadota is one of a kind, a great storyteller, a really nice guy, and got his own rod company now. So he's going to be making a splash in that area very soon. The California giants are largely gone now, JK. I recently did a story, and doing that story, I had a chance to interview the California fisheries biologist, and I asked him, I said, is there a 20-pounder in California? And they agreed there is not. And that's kind of sad. A lot of the trout stocking programs have gone away. And that was what was raising these fish and making them 20 pounds, 18, 20 pounds. Bill Siementel calls the rainbow trout they stock, he calls them vitamin T.
Right.
I think it's a great nickname for them. But those giants are no more out there.
Well, and that might be true for the Southern California guys, I guess. I know that there are some of the lakes up a little bit further north in the state, and I get that you got a little bit colder temperatures, I guess, throughout the year. But I know guys who think that the lakes with kokanee salmon, you know, naturally that have a good population of kokanees, have world record, not just spots, but smallmouth and largemouth swimming. I've heard stories of some fish at probably some lakes I shouldn't name because those guys probably don't want those stories being public, but that there's guys that are pretty confident that there's some 20-pounders swimming in some of those lakes, but they're not like the southern trout stocking lakes that you're talking about. You know?
Casitas, Castaic, that's where Danny Cadota dominated in that period.
Right.
I hope the guys in Northern California are right. I would love to see California challenge the record again. It's been a long time since anybody's caught a bona fide 20 in California.
We actually got that shot, Ken.
That was caught, Ken. When's the last 20 that was caught in this country?
Oh, JK asking the tough questions. Bear with me a moment, gentlemen. I will get you that information, but the last legit 20.
It wasn't Dottie when she was foul hooked at 25, was it?
That was certainly. Man,
that soured everything.
Well, it did sour everything, and it's horrible that it did sour everything. But the last 20 in the States,
why do they get so big in California?
Well, it's a few things, and let's go to them. Jed Dickerson, of course, caught Dottie when Dottie wasn't foul hooked in 2003.
Right.
But yeah, if you're talking a legit 20, Dottie was the last one put in the boat. In 2006, my friend George Caniglio caught a 19.7 out of Mission Vieja, which is a private, basically a subdivision lake, a big subdivision lake, a nice subdivision lake, but a subdivision lake.
Rich people.
Rich people in 1923 caught a 20-pound 2-ouncer right here in Florida. But that's not the last, luckily. It's been a long time since there's been a legit 20 caught fair and square.
Wow. Here's that pic. I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
Okay, cool.
Like that. It's the one where he's double fisting. What's he got there, Ken? 2 fish.
He's got a couple over 15.
Wow.
Couple stains.
Absolute megas.
Yeah, the pictures I was able to send you guys are not even his best.
Really?
They're not even his best fish. But you might want to have him on and talk with him sometime. I think your audience might get a kick out of Danny's stories. He's a super nice guy.
Like I said earlier, Ken, there's a lot of vultures out there. Don't give too much out in the air. He'll be sucked up on like 12 other podcasts before I get a hold of him.
I'll keep him exclusive to Bass U. How about that?
Yeah, if anybody's interested, his name was Ron Watts.
Ronnie Watts.
You can find him at ronwatts.com.
There you go. But no, it's I'm fascinated by gigantic bass, and it's one of the reasons I love living in Florida is because I think while I don't think we have 20-pounders in Florida, we got a lot of teen fish here, and that's the great thing about Florida. You never know. Every time you set the hook, you don't know if it's 10 inches or 10 pounds, but
we don't have that problem here, Ken. I never have that worry. I'm never worried about that. We don't have that kind of stress up here.
I don't know how long I've been trying to get you to come down here, but you're welcome. Now, this is not the best time to catch a 10. The best time would be, say, January, February, March. But you got to get down here.
I'm coming, dude. The hell with this.
JK Rizz, it applies to all you guys. You always have a standing invitation.
I'm coming back. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, you got to. You just got to. But fascinated by giant fish.
For show.
And I'm getting into shiner fishing, guys. I'm not proud.
Ken, I'm in, dude.
Live bait.
Live bait. Golden shiners.
Yeah,
And hey, for anybody who's listening out there in your audience, I'm sure there's a lot of folks anybody who wants to send me a DRT Clash 9 in golden shiner, I would be happy to accept it.
I don't know if I've got golden shiner or the carp. I've got one of those two, Ken.
Do you?
I don't know.
If you got golden shiner, man, I've got like a silverish one. I'll trade you.
Have you thrown it, Ken?
I've thrown it a little bit, but it's still in excellent shape.
You figured out how to use it?
I'm sorry?
You figure out how to use it?
I wouldn't say I'm any sort of great master at throwing that thing.
That has a technique to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to get Byron Childers on sometime BTC because the guy figured that out. And I don't want to I know how he's told me that he's figured it out, but he's like the big swim bait master now. Like I'd rather him tell the world than me do the hearsay thing. But there's just too many 7 and 8 pounders that have entered his boat on that lure. This year, you know.
And that golden shiner pattern, guys, if you haven't seen the golden shiner pattern, it looks more like a golden shiner than any other bait I can think of. It's scary.
But Ken, I'm with you on the live bait thing.
Yeah, man. We don't need a Clash 9 if we got a 9 or 10-inch golden shiner.
No, I don't need a Clash 9 when you got a live 9.
Yeah.
Live 9. There you go. Rizz, I like that. Live 9.
Live 9, a Bloody Mary, a comfortable seat, and some shade. I'm in.
You guys will be fishing with a freaking umbrella over the top of the boat.
I'm fishing with an umbrella attached to my hat, a Bloody Mary, live shiner. That's vacation. I'm tired, man.
Come down. If you get tired of drowning shiners with me, BTC, we'll get you in the boat with Lee Sisson. How can you beat that?
Yeah. As long as there's shade.
I can't promise shade.
Well,
shade,
it was hot today out there on a roof, and I'm tired.
BTC's tired.
Oh man,
this is off the rails. We're talking about live bait. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
We do have a Facebook like and share winner, by the way.
Come on, there's nothing illegal about live bait.
No, you're right. You're right. There's not. And if you're looking to just catch big fish, I mean,
maybe I need some live bait seminars. You know, who's the best in the game at that? Ken Duke, you're going to teach the seminar.
No, I'll tell you who's the best. I actually know the guy who's probably the
Roland
best in the game. Roland's awfully good, but there's a guide here in Florida in Ocala named Sean Rush.
Ocala.
In Ocala. Yeah.
I know Ocala.
Guys, come down.
I grew up romping the woods in Ocala National Forest. I fished on Kerr Lake, not Virginia, North Carolina Kerr Lake in Ocala National Forest.
That is awesome, Rizz.
By your accent, Rizz.
What's that? You can tell by my accent?
Yeah, I can tell by your accent.
Florida don't have an accent.
I'm not sure I buy the accent with Rizz, but that is fantastic, man. The Ocala National Forest has cranked out some 10s through the years. And
Rodman Reservoir. Shout out.
Rodman. Yeah, I know Rodman.
Live shiner.
Well, Sean Rush is the master of shiner fishing. He really is. He fishes out of like a 24 or 25 foot aluminum boat.
Yep. It's got a hammock in it. Tell me it's got a hammock.
I bet Sean could set you up.
Salt Springs, shout out. Let's go.
There you go.
All right, taking a New Year's trip, BTC. I'm gonna just go ahead and approve it for that you and me and Rizz and Pete were coming down to Florida after New Year's. Maybe we'll do a special live show down there with Ken to give us the excuse to go shiner fishing.
I got my excuse. I got a doctor's note.
That's awesome.
It's easy, it's easy to say you'd rather catch it on live bait, and I get that, but I'm old enough now that I just want to catch it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to catch it. BTC and I were talking earlier. We both caught our PBs when we were way too young to fully appreciate them.
Peaked at a young age.
How young were you, KD?
I was 12 when I caught a 12.4.
And BTC, you were
probably 13, whatever you are between 8th and 9th grade. 13, 14, something like that.
14. Yeah, about 14, right before you're going to go drive.
On a purple firetail culprit worm.
Dang. And it was an 8-pounder?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to change that.
It was an 8 pound. It was 8 pounds the day after. Spent the night in my mom's bathtub. But this was the 80s.
I got mine a little over 7 years ago. So I would have been 27. So I guess I could appreciate it more. Yeah. But it came out of like a 15-acre neighborhood lake with good depth and hydrilla in it. You know, like it just 12-2. I lived there for 11 months before we moved, and I caught 3 over 9 in that lake while we lived there.
And you allowed yourself to be moved?
Yeah. Yeah. She was pregnant, and yeah, she got her way with that one. It worked out in the end.
Yeah, I guess 12-2.
Yeah, 12-2. That fish was a butterball, man. Made the one thing I grew up reading Bassmaster. You know, that was my resource from an early age, and getting in the Lunker Club. Finally getting in the Lunker Club was a really cool achievement. You know, I did it. I almost didn't do it, you know, because I'm like 27 and I'm fishing tournaments and whatever. But then I was like, you know what? My 10-year-old self would be killing me if I didn't submit this.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's fantastic, JK. You guys are gonna have plenty of chances to beat your personal best, but I'd love to be in the boat with you when you do it.
So let's make it happen. Heck, were you in the boat with Dondi when he caught that giant on that Bienville trip last time?
I was. Of
good luck, BC. He's good luck.
Exactly. So true. But that was nowhere near the 12 that you've caught. Nowhere near that. It was a really good fish, though.
That was a 10-pounder.
Yeah, I netted that fish. So yeah, I would have rather.
Exactly what it was caught on. I remember, it was the Big Bite Tour swim worm and red bug, that new swim worm that is like 8 inches long on an owner flashy swimmer.
Yes, sir. The flashy swimmer is a great way to throw like a speed worm style or worm. It's fantastic. It'll help distinguish you from the rest of the speed worms that are flying by.
Yeah, that's the first time I'd seen that combo. It was pretty cool.
I got it from one of the best, Cody Detweiler. Cody showed me that rig. Sorry, Cody. Sorry for sharing.
Oops, we're on a platform where we talk about everything.
Yeah, but once you tell Justin Kimmel, it's over.
Yeah, don't tell that. I won't be able to hire him anymore. You should see some of the guys. They're ducking me at iCast. Oh man, Kimmel, I don't want money. Don't hire me. Yeah. Thankfully that isn't how it goes, but
I don't know anybody who doesn't want to see Justin Kimmel, but yeah, it's when you give away the secrets, that's touchy ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes Bass U what it is. I mean, I'll watch and I can't believe what Brian Thrift tells us. I can't believe what Gerald Swindle tells us about buzz baits. It's remarkable and really special, and it keeps me coming back all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known these guys for years. They don't tell me that stuff. They show up on your channel there.
Uh-huh. What do you think, BTC? Wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm about ready. Yeah, somebody who's this One on Angling on YouTube wants to know where Ken's located. Find your own Ken Duke there, One on Angling. All right. That's my Ken Duke. Yeah. A lot of guys chiming in. They saw you or just watched you on BTL this morning. So
making the rounds.
Respecting the work ethic of the mighty Ken Duke.
Man, you've been on the podcast wave today.
Yeah, about that. And Ken's got his own podcast in the works.
That's my excuse, Brian, is I've been too busy doing other people's shows than my own. I live in answer to that fellow's question, I live in the Orlando area. I'm just west of Disney in a little town called Davenport.
Okay.
Which is between the Kissimmee chain of lakes and the Winter Haven chain of lakes, which is not a bad place to live. Polk County, Florida.
Between what again?
between the Kissimmee chain, Toho, and the Winter Haven chain, which is a lot of smaller lakes. And Polk County is where the state record was caught back in 1986. We have an amazing sheriff named Grady Judd. Once when one of his deputies, I got to tell this Grady Judd story now that we're on Polk County. Sorry. When one of his deputies got killed, and then his deputies caught up with the killer, they shot him 68 times.
Ooh.
He did not survive.
No.
Didn't make it.
At the press conference, a reporter asked Grady Judd, why did they shoot him 68 times? And he said, they ran out of bullets.
Polk County. Hashtag.
Make America
Welcome
Florida
to Polk
again.
County.
Right, Ken?
What's that?
Make America Florida again.
Make America Florida. That's all I'm saying. I live in the best. I live in. I consider myself privileged to live in Polk County, Florida. I love it.
Good for you, man.
It's awesome.
I wish I could say the same.
Come on down, BTC. You can stay with me until you find your own place.
All right, sounds good.
Oh my gosh.
Nah, good show tonight, man. Shout out to all the guys on YouTube, man. YouTube crowd's awesome.
And tonight's Facebook like and share winner is a guy we know, Justin Jones, Captain Justin Jones.
Justin Jones.
Congratulations, Justin Jones. You're tonight's Facebook like.
Justin Jones, I saw his comment earlier, has never thrown or caught a fish on a drop shot.
That's awesome.
He's also the mastermind behind Silent Flip, right, JK?
Silent Flip from Cortland Line. That was his idea.
Cortland braided line. I think it's
there's something that solves a problem there. Epic E. Go try some Silent Flip.
Epic E.
That he asked the question about products that solve a problem earlier in the
show. The glide bait guy from that I've been hanging with up on Nakamixon, Keith. That's all he throws is Silent Flip, and he's throwing his glide baits Silent Flip to a leader.
Wow.
Yeah, he just likes it and likes it a lot better, softer.
Yeah, softer, quieter.
Yep.
That's the deal there for sure.
And a special shout out to Anthony Geis for murdering it over there in the comments section on YouTube. Good work, Ant. Appreciate you. Appreciate all your hard work. That's a wrap.
All right.
It's good. I'm good.
Bash you live.
Ken,
thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Ken, you want to take us out to a song?
Yeah, people would hate me if I sang. Are you talking about me singing?
All right.
I only do Dylan songs a cappella.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. for a brand new Bass University Live.
That's a wrap.
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bash U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bash U TV.
You get the top instructors.
You will learn things at Bash U that you will learn nowhere else.
And we help you build confidence with new techniques.
We take the mystery and the myths out of bass fishing.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
At Bass U TV, shoes are optional.
And I like turtles.
We teach you to enjoy bass fishing.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.